Hey there, my fellow lunatics, and welcome to Dakon's Madhouse. There are some that say that the summoning skill is really just a secondary skill or a support class to be used with other classes, but I'm here to say that it isn't. You can absolutely use this as your primary class. Now let's go ahead and dive into all of the details so that you know how to properly make use of your best summoning skills. The summoning skill itself will give you a 50% boost to your minion damage once you have maxed it out at 100. The very first skill on the list is Ferocious Creatures, which everyone is going to have and gives you a 20% boost to your minion attack speed. Your tier 2 choices include the Critical Command, which when maxed out gives you a 20% chance to increase your minion's critical hit, or Power in Numbers, which when maxed out gives you a 10% ranged attack speed increase per active minion. For your tier 3 skills, we've got Trickle Down Arcana, which gives a minion damage is increased by 10% per rank of your magic damage increase, up to a total of 50% of your magic damage. Additionally, we've got Tough Gang, which adds plus 15 magic barrier per active minion per rank until you reach level 5, which gives you a 75 magic barrier per minion. And finally, we've got Group Effort, which adds 2% magic damage for every active minion per rank up until rank 5 when you get a 10% boost to magic damage per minion. In the tier 3 category, we've got Longing for This World, which increases your minion lifespan by 10% per rank up to a total of 50%. And finally, we have got Proxy Parasites, which causes your minions to heal you for 1% of your health when they despawn per rank, up to a total of 5% of your health. Now, how you are going to build out your skill tree is going to kind of depend on the gear that you're wearing and your goals as a summoner. Also, whether or not you're using Summoner as a support class or as your primary class. Let's take a look at some of the options. And these are by no means the only options. With this design here, I've gone down both the left and right hand sides of the tree so that I can have Trickle Down Arcana to increase my minion damage based on my magic damage increase, as well as increasing my magic damage for every active minion. I feel like this one kind of is a feedback loop that you're creating for yourself, one where you're going more of a hybrid build with both magic and minions. You may not have more than 2 or 3 active minions, but you're also wearing magic gear, not just summoning gear, so you will have other things that are boosting your magic damage. You're probably also wearing a polished golden crystal necklace, which increases both your minion and your magic damage. This is one of my personal favorite builds when using summoning as a primary skill. The main reason for this is the increase in minion critical hit chance, and while Power in Numbers only buffs me, the player, I often used ranged attacks as my secondary to help with summoning because ranged won't use up my limited mana. But it also increases your magical barrier and increases your minions' lifespan so that you have them out significantly longer, which helps because you're not going to have as much mana in most of your summoning builds, although there are a few of them which do increase your mana as well. That can help you summon more minions. This layout is useful if your focus is around your minions and around making them as effective as you can, especially if you're going to have a lot of minions out on the battlefield, with some of the sets being able to get you upwards of 8 or 9 minions active. I would not use this layout with the Desert Guardian set, however. This skill layout right here is the layout that I prefer to use for the Desert Minion set, if that's the set that you prefer to wear. It increases your critical hit chance. I skip Power in Numbers because my focus is on the Tome of Ashes minions and blowing them up. I just have no need for the ranged boost. What I do have need for is Proxy Parasites, which heals me whenever they despawn. Now I'm going to be blowing up my minions like crazy with the Desert Guardian set, so healing me every time I get rid of my minions just makes it harder to kill me. And then having the longer lifespan for them is helpful because with the Desert Guardian set, you have the least amount of mana out of pretty much all of the other summoning sets. So you need to make sure that your minions last long enough for you to be able to summon 6 of them and keep them up for a significant amount of time. This layout right here is pretty good if you are going for more of a magic user build where summoning is kind of your support. In this case, you're increasing your magic damage for every active minion that you have and making sure that they last a little while so that you are actually using them. Your gear you'll be wearing will be mostly magic gear, but maybe you're wearing a Grim Hood or something like that so you can increase your minion count a little bit. Maybe you're wearing a couple pieces of the Chieftain set to give yourself a set bonus, get you up to maybe 4 minions. But again, magic is your primary attack and the minions are just helping you out and helping to buff your overall magic damage. Let's take a look at the various gear sets that are available for the summoners. Early in the game, you've got the Witch Doctor set. This is the very first set that's going to drop in the stone biome for you off of just various creatures and destructibles. It isn't bad. It gets you to a maximum minion count of 3, provides you with a decent boost to minion attack speed if you're using the full set, but otherwise it really doesn't provide that much. The next level up is the Chieftain set. And the Chieftain set is also found in the early game. You'll find it in the stone biome, the clay caverns. It'll drop off of some of the bosses sometimes. And this one can get you to a maximum minion count of 4. And it also provides some bonuses to your magical barrier, which is also really helpful. But otherwise, it really doesn't do much either. In the mid game, you only have one set of armor, and that is the Corrupted Warden set. This drops in Azios' Wilderness off of various destructibles and creatures. And this set increases your minion critical hit chance. It also has a maximum minion count of about 4, but it does increase your minion's lifespan, your minion's damage, and gives you some decent mana and mana regen as well. So this set is overall a pretty big upgrade from the earlier sets. For the end game, there's 2 sets available to you. First, we have got the Grim set, which drops off of various destructibles and creatures, bosses in the Molten Quarry, and it provides you with a +5 to your maximum minion count, as well as boosts to your minion's lifespan, boosts to your magical damage, your minion damage, etc., etc. This is a good build, especially if you are trying to make summoning a support class for you and you want to mix magic and summoning. Even if you want to make summoning your primary, the Grim set is a very versatile set for either or, especially in the end game. And the 3-set bonus for the Grim set is also really good if you are planning to also have magic damage that you include in your build. Finally, the last set that is available for the endgame is the Desert Guardian set. This primarily drops off of Nimruza, the new boss in the desert, but it can also be fished up in the Desert of Beginnings water or found in various cultists' chests. It provides a maximum minion count of 4, but it also provides bonuses to your minion's attack speed, to your armor, as well as to your minion critical hit chance. And it has 2 set bonuses, increasing your minion damage and giving your minions the ability to explode for 500% damage whenever they despawn. Now this can be a really, really cool feature, but it can also be really dangerous. So you want to be very careful about how you use this set. When it comes to the accessories, necklaces are probably the most versatile option for you for your summoning builds. You can start off with the gold crystal necklace, which you can craft, and this will increase both your magic damage and your minion damage. Eventually, you can upgrade that to the polished gold crystal necklace version once you get high enough in your crafting skill. You're also able to use the skull necklace if you want for extra minion damage, albeit at the cost of a little bit of your max health. This drops off of Malagaz. And finally, the endgame neck piece that you're probably going to use the most is the Soul Medallion, which increases your minion count and gives you a critical hit chance boost. The Soul Medallion can be found in certain alien chests in the Shimmering Frontier. It can also be found off of Druidra or Pydra as loot. From a ring standpoint, things are a little bit more limited, but you still have some choices. Starting off, we have got the Hourglass Ring, which can increase your minion lifespan significantly. You also get it really early in the game, making it a good early game ring, but definitely one that, if you don't like how quickly your minions go away, is something that you can level up and use even at endgame. The Hourglass Ring has a chance of dropping off of some early game bosses and destructible items in the Forgotten Ruins. It drops off of Malagaz, drops off of the Hive Mother. It also is on the loot table for all of the NPC merchants, so even though they have insane hit points, they don't fight back. Now the drop rate is low, but you could always try killing your NPCs and seeing if they give you one. Next, we've got the Puppet Ring, which is one of my personal favorites for the summoners because of that increase to your minion count. It drops off of Raw Car. It also drops off of mummies in the Desert of Beginnings. You can also find it fishing in desert water. And finally, we have got the Vicious Ring, which just flat out increases your minion damage. And this is found off of various creatures in the mold sub-biome within Azios' wilderness. For a lantern, we have got the Soul Lantern, which is great, increases our minion attack speed, but it's really the only option. So once you can get your hands on this, you're going to slot it in and just upgrade it. Incidentally, this only drops off of Raw Car, so you're going to have to farm that boss in order to get this thing. Finally, for the offhand slot, all we've got is the Minion Detonator, which increases our minion damage and gives us the ability to use an offhand attack, which will detonate all of your active minions at once and cause 500% of their damage in damage to enemies. So it's not explosive damage, just note that, because you don't see the word explosive anywhere in Minion Detonator. Even though they are exploding, they are not doing explosive damage. This item drops off of Nimruza, Queen of the Burrowed Sands. It's the new Scarab boss. You can also find it in the digging spots, little X's on the ground in the Desert of Beginnings, and there's a chance that it'll also drop off of the cultist chests in the various cicada study rooms within the dungeons in the Desert of Beginnings. Summoners have 6 different summoning books in which they can summon their various creatures. Each one works slightly differently than the other. The Tome of the Dark is the very first summoning book you're going to find, and it summons a ranged bat. If you didn't start with this using a summoning background, then you will find these things in various places in the dirt biome, destructibles, creatures, etc. The bats are an excellent starter minion, and frankly, they work well even into the end game. Even though their starting damage is a bit on the lower side, the fact that they are ranged really helps during that early game when you don't have a lot of hit points. The first melee minion you get your hands on is the Tome of Ashes, and this drops off of creatures in the stone biome and is also one of the early game summonings. The Fire Mites do more damage, and they also apply a burn, which is really nice. They are melee, however, so if you are not used to having melee summons, sometimes you may take some adjusting to get used to the way that they move around and that their AI works. The Tome of Sprouts is our first post-Great Wall summon and is found off of Azios. It's found in large overgrown chests, off of snare plants. And you can also find it in locked scarlet chests. The Tome of Sprouts is a ranged attacker as well that does more damage than the bats do. They also apply poison, which is an excellent debuff. Definitely an upgrade from the bats. The Tome of the Dead is found in the Mold Dungeon, and it is also a melee. Now these guys do more damage on their initial hit than the Burning Mites do. However, they do not have any additional kind of damage or any kind of damage over time like the Fire Mites do. So personally, I think the Tome of the Dead and the Tome of Ashes are about the same in quality. You get a little bit more damage overall from the Tome of Ashes. However, the attack speed of the creatures in the Tome of the Dead, even though it's not really mentioned here, is really nice. The Tome of the Deep is a different kind of summon as it just orbits around you. And this one is also melee damage because the enemies have to hit the jellyfish that's floating around you. So you do have to get pretty close to them in order for the Tome of the Deep to be effective. You're also really going to need a whole bunch of these. So you want to use the Tome of the Deep with your gear that increases the most of your minion count, because you want to get this up to the 7, 8, or 9 minion count range in order to really make this effective. You can find the Tome of the Deep in various destructibles within the Sunken Sea. And then the final tome that we have is the Tome of Decay, which is also a defensive tome, just like the Tome of the Deep, where the creature orbits around you. It also happens to do radioactive damage to anyone that's getting hit by it. So this is probably the highest damage dealing tome out of all of the summons, but since it is orbiting you, it is also one of the more dangerous ones. You have to be very careful, and you only want to use this during the end game when you've got the hit points to potentially take a melee hit. You can find this in locked solarite chests, off of any of the Hydra bosses, or in the alien battle arenas in the Shimmering Frontier. All right, let's take a second and talk briefly about pets. When you are a summoner, I personally find that ranged pets aren't nearly as useful. Melee pets are much more helpful. The Subterrier or the Prince Slime make excellent pets during the early game, as they will help with taunting enemies and keeping those enemies on them, giving you the ability to stand in the background and just let your summons do their thing. As the game progresses, you're eventually going to want to move on to the Arcane Symbiote, which you can find in Azios' Wilderness. This has a really nice mana regeneration boost, as well as some boost to like magic damage if you're going that route. Otherwise, it's just a really good pet to buff you, the player, and make you better support for your minions. And then at the end game, I feel like the Snugglygrade is one of the best pets for the summoner, because you get kind of the best of both worlds. It buffs you with a chance to regenerate mana on hit. It also acts as a melee pet and keeps the enemies distracted while your summons do their thing. Really, any of these pets can work from beginning game to end game, and it's not just Prince Slime, by the way. Any of the slimes work just fine, except for the blue slime. The blue slime sucks, never use it. There are several good buff foods to keep in mind when it comes to your minions. First, you've got the Lunicorn, and of course the Golden Lunicorn variety. Lunicorn is found in the Shimmering Frontier, and the regular Lunicorn will increase your minion damage, while the Golden Lunicorn will increase not only your minion damage, but your minion attack speed as well. You can also fish up the Daggerfin, which is found in the normal waters of the Forgotten Ruins, and this will increase your minion damage. So before you have access to the Shimmering Frontier, you will have access to the Daggerfin. This will probably be the first buff food that you use for your summoning. Finally, in the Passage Waters in the end game, you've got the Greenhorned Pico, which increases your minion attack speed and your minion critical hit chance. Or you have got the Pinkhorn Pico, which increases your minion damage. So if I was to put these buff foods in a progression order, you'd be getting the Daggerfin first, and then eventually you'd also be getting Lunicorn and turning that into Golden Lunicorn. But then by the time you get to the Passage, you're basically going to replace these golden crops and the Daggerfin with both the Greenhorn Pico and the Pinkhorn Pico. And just as an example of what they can end up being, this is an Epic Filling Moon Sandwich, which gives me a 68.1% minion damage boost and a 95.2% minion attack speed boost. I've also got the Epic Gooey Oat Cereal here, which increases my minion damage by 78.2%. And then at the Alchemy Workbench, you can also craft a Pack of Power Potion, which will increase your minion damage by 30% for 1 minute, and this does stack with any buff food that you're also using. It's easily crafted for only 3 slime and 1 larva meat. Very, very cheap. So what are the best ways to level up your summoning skill? Well, there are several really good and effective methods besides just roaming around and killing creatures while you have your summons out. Let's start with the tried and true method that's been around since the early game. We have got the Hive Mother cheese, where you get the Hive Mother attacking, you get her ads going, and you just summon up your summon creatures and start attacking them. In this case, I am wearing the Witch Doctor hat and the Chieftain tunic and the Chieftain shorts. This gets me 5 potential summons at once, and I'm using the Tome of the Dark because that is all early game. And you just summon up all of your bats and watch your skill just steadily go up while you don't really have to do anything. The ads and the mobs will keep on spawning, your skill will keep on going up, and since you're killing creatures as well, you are also going to gain vitality if you don't already have a high vitality score. Shroomin brutes don't take any damage, well, they take 1 hit point of damage if they aren't actively attacking and they're in their shelled, hardened state. Now I'm using materializers here to summon a few Shroomin brutes, but you can easily, in the early game, just capture a couple on like a 1 or 2 tile area so that they're stuck and can't really move around. And as long as you have a gap, they won't charge you. So you can just summon your bats and have them start attacking. And this will start increasing your summoning skill. This works exactly the same as the Hive Mother strat. We're just using Shroomin brutes. Now again, for the demonstration, I've been using materializers just to summon them quickly, but you don't need to use materializers. That's a late game thing. However, if you do have materializers, you can very easily create this little area here where your Shroomin can just get attacked and killed real easily by your bats. Now, do you want something a little bit more efficient and you have materializers? Well, let's go take a look at one of the fastest ways to level up your summoning. Now here, I have got materializers, each with blue slimes and with Shroomin brutes. And I have it mixed up because the blue slimes, when they die, they'll give me vitality, and the Shroomin brutes just won't die that often, so they're good because you can keep them around. Now, I've got them surrounding me like this, but unable to attack me, which again is great and is designed like this for a very specific reason. I'm currently wearing the Witch Doctor hat, the Chieftain tunic and pants, as well as a soul medallion to increase my minion count, and 2 puppet rings again to increase my minion count. I'm using the Tome of the Deep as well, which, as you know, is defensive and comes around me, and you can probably see what's about to start happening. I can get 8 minions with this, and they give me a ton of experience points. As you can see, it's moving up real fast, and I only have 4 minions summoned currently. Once at the full count, you can see my skill is just skyrocketing up. This is by far the quickest and easiest way to raise your summoning skill. But you need to have materializers to do this really effectively, right? Actually, no, you can do this without materializers. Materializers just make it easy and less frustrating to actually set up. You can also build this crazy conveyor belt contraption like I've got here and start catching Shroomin brutes. Now, the hardest part of this is capturing the Shroomin brutes, and the more Shroomin brutes you capture, the better. Because again, you're going to be summoning as many of your Tome of the Deep summons as possible, and you want to get as many Shroomin brutes being constantly hit while they're moving around the conveyor belt as you can. So the more of them you have, the faster you're going to do damage, and the faster you are going to be leveling up your summoning skill. And there you have it, folks. I hope you found this video informative and helpful. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button to help give the video a little bit of a boost. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on the bell notification so you don't miss any of my regularly released content. But we have more. If you want to support the channel a little extra, you can become a channel member to get exclusive membership benefits like early access to my videos, exclusive members-only content, a members-only Discord community, and more. So thank you all to my current and future supporters. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you all for watching. Stay happy, stay healthy, and above all, stay crazy, my friends.